Hey guys, it's Trey here. First off, I want to thank you for supporting Fiberglider. I can't believe you made this a reality. 2 thumbs up for you guys. And I want to take some time and show you how to put the Fiberglider together. So first off, what you're going to need to get started is some glue of your choice and some sandpaper. Now I'm using the instant Loctite 1 minute epoxy here. Now it's important to note the longer the set time, the stronger it'll be. But the reason I'm using the 1 minute epoxy is because it comes with this nice precision applicator, which really helps in getting a nice bead when you're gluing the wings together. So that's what I've chosen to use. And then you just want a medium grit sandpaper. You can pick that up from any hardware store. So let's get started. The first thing we need to do is roughen the carbon fiber where we're going to apply the glue. Now we do that to remove the mold release and to make sure the epoxy gets the best grip on the 2 pieces as possible. To help you with that, you can download this schematic on our website and print this off. It'll show you here in the hash marks where you need to sand the carbon fiber to get it to come together correctly. So we're just going to take the carbon fiber wing here, lay it down. It matches. It's a 1:1 scale. Take our sandpaper and then just do a nice gentle roughing there. Make sure we get the same amount on either side. There's a little center mark that can show you. Flip it over. You want to do both sides. Okay. Then we're going to move on with the tail piece. And the fuselage. So on the wing and tail, you want to roughen the center because that's where we're going to glue the wing to the fuselage. And then on the fuselage, we want to roughen next to these little slits where the wing and tail enter. And then also up here on the nose where the ballast is going to get glued in. So just like before, we're going to do both sides. You don't have to get too carried away here. We just want to make sure we roughen those edges up enough. That looks good. So at this point, you're ready to put the 3 pieces together. Now, it is important to note that the tail on this batch has tended to be very tight. So if anything is super tight, you don't want to force it. So don't be afraid to take some sandpaper and loosen some edges up. So I know from experience that this nose piece, or the front edge of this tail, needs to be sanded just a little bit so it can fit without needing to be too persuaded. So I'm just going to take a little bit off the nose so it slides in nice, just like that. So I just kind of wiggle that a little bit, and you can use this template to make sure you get everything nice and centered and straight. So that looks good. And then we're going to just do the same thing with the wing. Slide it in there just like that. Make sure we get it in there nice and square. Awesome. Now from here, we're ready to apply the glue. So there's a couple of ways you can go about this. The most important principle to understand here is you want to make sure the wing and the tail don't move after you apply the glue and let it cure. So if you have some time, I've done this before, is where you just kind of pinch here at the bottom and apply the glue right there in that crease and hold it till the glue sets. Now, sometimes I don't have, a couple minutes to sit and let the glue dry. So I've made, pull that one over there, just this little jig out of some cardboard I had laying around. It's basically 4 layers of cardboard I've stacked up on top of a base and then cut a nice straight slit using a straight edge and a razor blade. And that just makes a nice little base plate that you can put your pieces in, and that will hold your wing nice and level with the tail. So once you do that, I'm just going to take this glue, take off my cap, put on my nozzle. Now the trick here is we want just a nice even bead. So of course, check twice, glue once, make sure our wing is nice and straight. And we're just gonna apply a nice bead of glue here. And there on the front and the tail. And make sure you don't spill any on the table. Make your wife or mom mad. Okay, so now we've got it glued. Just do a last double check and make sure everything looks good. I like that there. Okay, so now we're going to let that dry. We're going to move that off to a safe place where it's not going to get bumped. Okay, so now that the glue's set up enough for us to move the carbon fiber without jostling the wing or anything in place, we're going to install the ballast. So the ballast is made up of 4 parts, a weight, a threaded rod, and 2 acorn nuts. So we're just going to put the ballast and thread it to the center of the rod. Take the 2 nuts, put them on here. Okay, and that's our ballast assembly. That's our ballast kit. So now we have that put together, we're going to take the carbon fiber airframe and press fit those 2 acorn nuts into the carbon fiber. So it just fits in there nice and snug, just like that. Now, some of your fiber gliders might not be quite that tight on the front. If they're not, that's totally fine. You can just take some you can take some cardboard or some tape and kind of tape that into place to hold it while you glue it. So we're going to be careful not to glue mom's table or anything. So we're just going to take a piece of paper, put the plane upside down like so, and and with epoxy we want probably about a nickel to a dime size glob. And we're going to be careful to mix everything very well, because if you don't mix epoxy correctly or enough, you'll just end up with a sticky glob on your airplane. That's not very fun. So we're just going to take a small bit and we're going to apply it right there. We don't want any more than is necessary to cover up the scratches from roughening the carbon fiber. Kind of run that front and back, just like that. Do that to both sides. Get a nice glob there. Okay, so I'm just going to realign that. You want to make sure that's nice in the center. Take another group of epoxy. And we just want to cover up that front acorn nut on both sides, getting the spots that we roughened. Right there. All right, that looks pretty good. And then to let this dry, what I usually do is I just take my little stand or my little base and I stick my plane in it. I got a little goop there. So, and then I guess this is a good thing to note. If you get any globs of glue on the carbon fiber where it's not been roughened, usually it'll just break clean off. So you don't worry about trying to clean it off until it's actually dried. So that's not sticky, so I don't have to worry about it getting glued in anywhere. And I just let it sit sitting straight up like this until the glue's dried. And that helps to make sure that the glue holding in the ballast kit doesn't drop down and glue it to anything, and kind of helps keep the ballast there. So I'll just let that sit for a couple minutes till it sets, and then before you fly it or go do much with it, you probably want to let it sit for a couple hours or whatever your epoxy says. So that's it. That's all there really is to putting together your stand and your airplane. It is at this point, probably don't want to risk gluing it to your stand unless you always want it to just be there. So we'll let that dry, and that's really all there is to putting together the fiber glider. I hope you learned something, or at least know what it takes to put it together. If you have any questions, let me know in the comments below. And we'd also love to see your final projects. So go ahead and post them on social media, the hashtag fiberglider, or if you want to be featured on our website, go ahead and email me pictures and comments to Trey@fiberglider.com. So Tray@fiberglider.com. Cool, take care guys, and we'll see you in the next one.